The next to deliver his opening remarks is the Chair of the Committee on Human Rights, Congressman Benny Abante. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sa atin pong Senior Deputy Speaker, sa ating Deputy Speaker, sa aking mga co-chairs, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues at mga kababayan, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. We gather here once more for the 10th time, not merely to sit in one of our typical hearings, in order to file one of our usual committee reports, but for something far greater. We have convened again because we cannot and we must not lose sight of the purpose that drives us. The pursuit of justice for the victims of illegal drugs, for the victims of POGOs, and for the victims of extrajudicial killings. To help remind us of why we dedicate so much of our time to this task, I ask you to remember the name of Kian de los Santos, that young man, that minor, whose life was tragically cut short by a bullet fired in the dark. We are here today for Kian, and for the countless innocents like him, who died in the name of a misguided, bloody war on drugs. To our people, and to everyone here, I say, enough. Enough with the gaslighting. Enough with the distractions. Enough with the squib tactics. We cannot be knocked off course by words meant to confuse or mislead. At this point, there is one voice we must focus on. One that was used under oath in the halls of the Senate. Last week, former President Duterte himself spoke before the Senate and the nation, and in his own words, took responsibility for the blood spilled in his war on drugs. He did not deny. He did not deflect. He admitted that he gave orders. Orders that directed our own police forces to encourage suspected criminals to fight back so they could be killed. Under oath, he told us this without shame and without remorse. This was not hearsay. This was not a speculation. This was a declaration from the man himself. He went further. Under oath, he admitted to the existence of the Davao Death Squad, an entity with a lethal mandate that was replicated around the whole country when PRRD was elected president in 2016. But the former president did not stop there. He pointed his finger at a sitting senator, a member of our very government, and named him a part of the DDS. Not a Duterte defending senator? No. But a member of the notorious Davao Death Squad. Ano ang sinabi ni PRRD? And I quote, yung isang senador, yang nakaupo dyan, si Senator De La Rosa, Death Squad rin yan. End of quote. And now comes this familiar refrain. It was all a joke. Biro lamang daw. But I ask you, my friends and my colleagues, I ask you, who makes jokes under oath? Who laughs while mothers bury their sons? Who finds humor in this horror? This is no laughing matter. The lives lost, the grief that lingers, the blood spilled in our streets, these are not punchlines in a cruel joke. These are lives, young innocent lives taken from us. But perhaps we should not be surprised. Perhaps we should not be shocked that this sacred issue, the sanctity of life, is treated so trivially. For we have seen time and time again how human life has been cheapened, how easily these men speak of death, how casually they wash their hands off the blood of the innocent. As Proverbs 31 verse 8 and 9 reminds us, and I quote, "Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy." End of quote. We are commanded to raise our voices for those who cannot speak, to seek righteousness for those who have been silenced, and to demand justice for those who have suffered unjustly. This, my friends, this is why we must not falter. This is why we must not rest, why we must not turn away. We have a responsibility, not only to the victims, but to our nation. We must continue this work, unyielding, unrelenting, uncompromising. Mga kasama, we have the statement of the former president. We also have testimony and evidence that corroborates what he said under oath. Now, we must hold to account those who have perpetrated these heinous crimes. Now we must ensure that the cries of the oppressed are not drowned out by laughter, that the dignity of human life is restored, and that no one, no matter how powerful, is above the law. And as we press forward, let us remember this. We do not stand here alone. We stand with Kian. We stand with his family. We stand with a 3-year-old killed by a stray bullet in Cebu. We stand with a 9-year-old killed in Caloocan, and the death certificate showed that he died of pneumonia. We stand with a tricycle driver gunned down just because a drug lord rode in his tricycle. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand with every victim of this dark and bloody campaign. The banality of evil must come to an end. We stand for those who cannot speak, for the voices that were silenced too soon, and we stand with the promise, the solemn vow, that we will do everything in our power to ensure this never happens in our country again. So with hearts full of resolve and eyes fixated on justice, let us continue this work. For if we are to be remembered, if the 19th Congress is to be remembered, let it be not for the jokes or the gaslighting, but for our dedication to the truth, our commitment to justice, and our compassion for those who suffer. Mga kaibigan, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Congressman Abante. The next to deliver his opening remarks is Congressman, the Chair of the Committee on Public Order and Safety, Congressman Dan Fernandez.
Mr. Chairman, I have no opening remarks for today's hearing. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The next to deliver his opening remarks is the Chair of the Committee on Public Accounts, Congressman Caraps Paduano. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. The Joint Committee has conducted 10 public hearings, and over the course of these proceedings, numerous witnesses have come forward, reinforcing suspicions of widespread abuses during the Duterte administration's war on drugs. Thus, a significant question has arisen regarding the safety of these witnesses and what they stand to gain from their cooperation. First and foremost, I want to put on record that telling the truth is its own reward. There is inherent value in honesty because it upholds personal integrity, contributes to justice, and fosters trust. By coming forward, these witnesses contribute to uncovering the realities of past actions and ensuring accountability. Their testimonies play a crucial role in strengthening the integrity of our institutions and promoting justice and transparency. Having said that, it is the obligation of the House of Representatives to ensure the protection and security of these witnesses. As a legislative body dedicated to uncovering the truth, the safeguarding justice, the House has a duty to support and protect those who come forward in good faith to share their testimony. The House recognizes the witnesses in sensitive inquiries may face threats, intimidation, or retaliation. As such, it is incumbent upon us to take all necessary measures to shield them from harm. Current laws does not grant the House of Representatives the authority to directly confer immunity from suit. However, we can recommend our witnesses for the Department of Justice Witness Protection Program, which offers both legal protection and additional support. By making this recommendation, we can ensure that witnesses who provide vital information are shielded from prosecution related to their testimonies, in line with the provisions of Republic Act number 6981. This action requires the consent of the witnesses and approval of our Speaker. In addition, we may consider the option of granting protective custody to ensure the physical safety of research persons who may be at risk due to their involvement in this investigation. While protective custody does not provide immunity from legal actions, it is an established measure that can provide immediate security during the course of our proceedings. Both actions will require a collective decision from the members of the Joint Committee. This ensures that we act transparently and uphold the principles of democracy. Mr. Chairman, before we proceed with the continuation of our inquiry, this representation would like to put on record and address certain critical concerns relative to the conduct of the parallel inquiry of the Senate Blue Ribbon Subcommittee on the drug war implemented during the previous administration on October 28, 2024. To set things into clear perspective, this representation fully recognizes the authority of the Senate to investigate the details of the implementation of the drug war, as both chambers of Congress are constitutionally permitted to conduct inquiries in aid of legislation in accordance with our duly published rules. However, while the authority of the Senate will never be put into question, what is particularly concerning is the seeming disregard for proper courtesy and lack of impartiality by a member of the subcommittee. In particular, I am referring to the actions of Senator Ronaldo Bato de la Rosa. Allow me to discuss this detail, Mr. Chairman. Senator Bato de la Rosa action of participating as a member in a proceeding where he is named as one of the individuals involved in the implementation of drug war did not produce meaningful results, but rather cast doubts on the integrity of the whole process. In fact, prior to the hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee, Senator De La Rosa even insisted that the investigation should be heard by his own committee. This action of a sitting member of Congress not only demonstrates disregard to existing rules and processes, but also undermines the integrity of the institution that he is bound to respect. Kung sa simula pa lamang ay gumamit na siya ng impluensya, ano pa ang aasahan natin sa kanya sa mga gaganapin nilang pagdinig? He was the PNP chief when the previous implementation introduced the war on drugs. He also admitted that there were killings attributed to the war because of alleged cases of nanlaban. In short, he was not only involved, but was in fact one of the figureheads of the campaign during its inception. Hence, he should have been mindful that his presence in the hearing as a member of the panel would compromise, if not invalidate, the whole proceeding. Hindi naman pwedeng ikaw ang mag-imbestiga sa iyong sarili. Clearly, this is conflict of interest on his part. At the very least, he should have inhibited from the proceedings and instead offered himself as a resource person so as not to influence and intimidate the other guests. Unfortunately, the Honorable Senator failed to observe this. Even after the hearing, Senator Bato continued to conduct himself in a manner contrary to what is expected from a member of Congress. Asked about his comment on whether he was part of the Davao hit squad, whose existence was confirmed under oath by former President Duterte during the subcommittee hearing, Senator De La Rosa downplayed the same, claiming that the former president was just joking and there was no death squad to speak of. Now begs the question, why would the committee member defend and even interpret a clear statement made by a resource person in a congressional hearing? The confirmation by the former president needed no interpretation, much less from a member of the panel who investigated the same. If you would ask me, it is as if the Honorable Senator came to the defense of the former president while seeking to exonerate himself from any liability. This is further highlighted by his recent statement that he will be objecting any action of the Senate regarding the submission of records to the ICC. The Honorable Senator's recent actions are truly disappointing, Mr. Chairman. We are conducting these inquiries in order to fill the legislative gaps and address problems that necessitate immediate solution. In doing so, we also want to ascertain the truth about abuses and other acts related to illegal drugs, Pogo's energy case. Mahirap man ang hamon sa atin na palabasin ang katotohanan. Sa palagay ko ay napagtatagumpayan natin ito. In closing, this representation wishes to remind our Honorable Senator to observe courtesy and fairness in conducting his official responsibility as a member of the Senate instead of resorting to other means so as to discredit the efforts of this body. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madamong salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Paduano. Before we proceed with the admin matters, may we request that the guests, the honorable members who are present, as well as our resource persons, be acknowledged, and the COMSEC is directed to acknowledge the presence of the members as well as our resource persons for today. But before that, let me inform everybody that for today's committee hearing, dalawa po yung ating topic, no? Ang ating topic sa umaga ay yung usapin tungkol po sa illegal drugs. And then later in the afternoon, we will shift to the issue of the extrajudicial killings as a result of the implementation of the war on drugs. So, COMSEC, please acknowledge our guests and our members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and honorable members, honorable chairs. For today's hearing, we have with us Honorable Robert Ace Barbers, Honorable Dan S. Fernandez, Honorable Joseph Stephen Caraps Paduano, Honorable Bienvenido Abante Jr., Honorable Romeo Acop, Honorable Raul Daniel Manuel, Honorable Jonathan Keith Flores, Honorable Gabriel Bordado, Honorable Johnny Pimentel, Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong Gonzales, Honorable Arlene Brosas, Honorable Francisco Paulo Ortega V, Honorable Edward Vera Perez Maceda, Honorable Zia Alonto Adjong, Honorable Jervil Jinky Beatrix Luistro, Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, and Honorable Seriaco Gato Jr. For our resource persons, we have with us from the Anti-Money Laundering Council, Attorney Iranio A. Dumale, the Deputy Director, Attorney Luis Anthony K. Warren, Attorney Darius M. Canulas. From the Bureau of Internal Revenue, we have Attorney Scranton Orculio. From the Commission on Human Rights, we have its Executive Director, Attorney Jacqueline De Guia, Ms. Eileen Paradero, and Ms. Rachel Pilayo. From the Department of Justice, we have Attorney Wesley Young. From the Land Registration Authority, we have Attorney Paulo Tamayo and Attorney John Paul Hidalgo. From the National Police Commission, we have Commissioner Alberto A. Bernardo, the Vice Chairperson and the Chief Executive Officer of NAPOLCOM. From the National Bureau of Investigation, we have Assistant Director Glenn Ricarte, Assistant Regional Director Ferdinand Lavin, Attorney Ross Jonathan Galicia, Attorney John Mark Santiago, Special Agent Florendo Gamunac, Attorney Florendo Gamunac, Ms. Agrafina de la Cruz, Attorney Chris Godinez, and Attorney Yantel Malikat. From the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, we have Director Ferlo J. Silvo and Director Alden Juan Masagka and Mr. Nick Faildon. From the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, we have its Director General Lazo, ASEC Renato Gumban, Director Emeterio M. Bitong, Director Emerson Margate, and Director Emerson Margate. From the Philippine National Police, we have Attorney Brigido de Jesus Dulay, Police Brigadier General Nicolas Torre III, the Director of the CIDG, Police Brigadier General Elias Mata, the Director of the PDEG, and from the non-government agencies, the Center for International Law sent their excuse letter. And we have with us from the National Union of People's Lawyers, we have the former Bayan Muna Congressman Attorney Nery Colmenares, Attorney Cristina Conti. We have also representatives of Rise Up for Life and for Rights and victims of families of victims, Ms. Dalia Cuartero, Leore Pasco, Cristina Pascual, Marian Erorita, Salvacion Ramos, Shira Escudero, Rowena Morales, Norma Lopez, Marilu Modesto, and Teresita Adrias. And of course, we have with us the Advocates for Human Rights, led by the missionary Rebecca Lawson and Deaconess Robilin Litao. Also from Program Paghilom, we have its Executive Director, Father Flavi L. Villanueva, SVD, Mr. Randy De Los Santos, a witness, Ms. Arsenia Chico, also a witness, Tesam Castillo, and Elizabeth Campo. From the Bureau of Corrections, we have with us Mr. Ian Jake S. Harabe and Senior Superintendent Gerardo F. Padilla. Again, from the Philippine National Police, we have with us Police Colonel Rolando Villela, Police Colonel Serafin Petalio, Police Colonel Marvin Marcos, Police Colonel Redentor Olsano, Police Captain Delfinito Anuba, Police Lieutenant Colonel Santi F. Mendoza, Police Lieutenant Colonel Jason Bombasi, Senior Inspector Emil Garcia, Police Major General Felipe Natividad, Police Colonel Loie D. Jonglay, and those from the CITG, Police Colonel Serafin Petalio, Police Lieutenant Colonel Chetadel Carandong Gayran, Police Lieutenant Colonel Marcelino Basconilio Pipo Jr., Police Lieutenant Colonel Raycon Lalaan Garduque, PSMS Deborah Cruz Cordova. Another set of PNP officials, now the Cavite Acting Mayor and former Police Brigadier General Edwin Carranza, Police Colonel Edwin Quilates, the former Batangas Provincial Director. Also from the CITG Halili, Police Senior Superintendent Edward Carranza, Senior Superintendent Edwin Quelantes, Senior Superintendent Gayran, and Police Superintendent Joseph Reyes Arguelles, and Police Superintendent Judy Lopez. And from former government officials, we have Mr. Wilkins M. Villanueva, the former Police PDEA Director. He is here. And former Senator Laila S. De Lima, and Police Colonel Edelberto Leonardo, and Police Colonel Jovi Espinido. We also have with us Mr. Carlos Conde, the Philippine researcher of the International Human Rights Watch. We also have with us Miss Rose Nonolin. Andito na, Rose Nonolin.
Mr. Chair,
Miss Rose
Mr. Chair,
Nonolin.
can those,
May I ask first, Congressman Abante, to let us allow the... Do you still have a lot of names to acknowledge, Comsec?
No more, Mr.
No more?
Chair.
Okay, sige. Okay, thank you. Congressman
can they
Abante.
just sit right there in the witness chair, those that have been called?
Ibigay mo kay sir.
Do you have a person in particular who you would like to sit in front? Because of the number of resource persons we invited today, it seems that the whole room is too small for our guests. So, do you have anyone in particular, Congressman Abante, that you would like to see face to face?
For example, Miss Roslyn is here and I don't see her.
Miss
Roslyn.
Roslyn, are you here? Are you present?
Nonolin, yeah.
Can you take the seat in front of Congressman Abante? Yes, Comsec.
Sir, we also have with us Attorney Dexter Lopez from Tagum, also a human rights advocate, and Mr. Sunny Buenaventura.
Okay. So, thank you, Comsec. So, we will now proceed to all our guests. Good morning at welcome po dito sa ating 10th Joint Public Hearing ng Quadcomm. Medyo pagpasensyahan niyo na po na medyo baka matagal-tagalan po tayo ngayon sa dami po ng ating naimbitahan. And we will try our best to really be able to ask you questions in the hearing for today. So,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
okay, Congressman Fernandez and then Congressman Abante.
I was trying to look at the names that are being mentioned by the Comsec, and I think he is in the last 2 pages. Actually, minomonitor ko po yung mga binabanggit niya. And tong sila other key personalities and yung mga minention din ni Colonel Garma are not yet mentioned yet. So, would you mind finish your mentioning of all those resource persons who are present today?
Yes, sir. Those I read are the ones present, but we invited a lot of personalities. Yes, it's in the...
So in other words, you are done with those who have
Yes, those who are present.
today.
Those who did not appear today, I think will be tackled by...
Thank you. All right.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Congressman Abante.
Kaya ko po binanggit si Miss Roslyn, tinatanong po sa akin ni Congressman Fernandez kung nasan siya.
Okay.
Ando nasa harapan na po siya, makikita mo.